Excellent. Great. Okay. Well, welcome everybody to Platinum Travel's Inspirational Evenings USA Week. This is week number 2 and the second last night, and it's our West Coast USA night. So thank you very much for joining us for the first time, for the second time, maybe even for the 7th time, if you've gone the whole lot with since the start last week. We're really looking forward to this evening. Those of you that were with us last night, it ran a bit long, so we hope to keep it a little bit shorter tonight. We've only 2 presenters separate to myself and Paula this evening. So we'll try not to keep you as long this evening, but I think you're going to be very, very impressed with what you see, and hopefully be putting a few more places on the bucket list, which has probably got very long at this stage. So just to recap again why we're focusing on the USA this week, Platinum Travel, family-run business, award-winning since 2005. We've always specialised in the USA. We're very passionate about it and always have been about everything kind of outside the box with the States. So while we do sell the likes of the New York and the Orlandos, we also love to sell everything past that. So if you're going to California this evening, you'll see that we're doing everything from the wine areas to gorgeous beaches to going inland to the countryside. Same with Oregon, which is further north and very often gets forgotten, and it's absolutely stunning. And everything else we showed you this week in Utah, Colorado, Montana's. There's so much more there when you're going to the States, not to just stereotype it into the usual places, the big cities and the theme parks. So that's what we're passionate about, and that's what we like to showcase to our customers. We like to deal with partners that we've been dealing with for a long time. So we've very strong partnerships with companies and suppliers in the USA, as well as the tourism bodies that constantly liaise with us about upcoming things that are happening in their destination, or new product, or new hotels, or new routes. So we're constantly in contact with them so that we can bring new information to you all the time. And in line with that, we're always training both in the office and in destination. We wish we were in the destination an awful lot more than we are, but obviously at the moment we can't be anywhere but at home. So what we've done is all the training we've been getting, we want to bring to you so you can learn more. So you know when it's your time to go back, where to choose for your next holiday. As always, we've mentioned it every single night, we're licensed and bonded by CAR. CAR stands for the Commission for Aviation Regulation in Ireland. Highly advise anybody booking a holiday, books it with a regulated travel agent or tour operator. We're here to protect you. Your money is safe. Your holiday is safe no matter what happens. Ideally, we'd love every booking with us. But of course, as I always say, a booking for our industry is a booking for everyone. And we're a very tight industry. We look after each other and we protect our clients. So always make sure you check that before you book. And that's really it. So we're passionate about the USA. So we'll get on with the next steps. So why choose the USA? This is something I've mentioned every evening this week. And for those that are joining us for the first night tonight, the US is amazing value for money, and there's literally every type of holiday you could want. So if you want to do an RV from East Coast to West Coast, if you want to do, we'll say a city break and then go down and stay on the beaches, if you want to go mountains, lakes, skiing, snowboarding, kayaking, I could go on and on and on. If you want to stay in a tent, if you want to stay in a 5-star hotel, if you want to go with your family on your own, if you want to go escorted, meet new people, everything is there. And this place is huge. The US is huge. There's 50 states to explore. And it's phenomenal value for money. So even when the dollar is bad, you can get very good value. And with the choice of flights going across from Ireland to the USA, again, in a normal year, there's at one stage we had 200 direct flights to the US every single week, to many cities across the USA, direct from Dublin and from Shannon. So there's huge choice of aircraft. And I have no doubt that they'll all come back as soon as this pandemic is over. And with our US pre-clearance, of course, from Dublin and from Shannon, it's so easy when you land in the States. And going to the 2 destinations tonight, we're fairly confident that the routes that are direct from Dublin will all be coming back, which will make going to the West Coast very convenient. And finally, yeah, we always say it, they love the Irish. I think every time I go there, they're constantly saying, how they're Irish and their family are Irish and they have Irish backgrounds and they want to come to Ireland. So they love hearing an Irish accent. So they're very welcoming when we get there. And a good note to know is down the bottom there, you see we are regularly rated in the top 20 countries in the world to visit the USA. So we punch well above our weight. And I think that's only going to get stronger. So just some good reasons to think about why choose the USA for your next holiday. What we're asking everybody to do this week as well is when you look at the presentations this evening, consider how you want to see the USA, because it doesn't have to be a fly drive. It doesn't have to be, just an escorted tour. You can mix and match. You can drive a bit, tour a bit, stay on the beach a bit, do a little bit of camping, take a helicopter over the Grand Canyon. You can mix and match, and there's so many options. And you can also fly internally if you want to get from one place to another. So say you wanted to do Oregon for a while and then you wanted to fly from Portland down to San Francisco, that's what they're going to be showing you this evening. There's huge options there. So have a think about that when you're looking at everything this evening. And now on to the more important people of the evening, other than not myself. The more important people this evening are Brendan Croft from Visit California. Brendan's the guy with the hat on, and Adela Tully, who you might recognize from her previous appearance last night when she was here with another hat on, and she's here to look after Oregon for us. Both states are massively complement each other, but they're also very, very unique and very diverse, and they both have a huge amount to offer. I've been very, very lucky to go to both, and I love them both. I say I love them both the same, and I love them for loads of different reasons, and there's ample opportunity to do whatever you need. So we're going to kick off with Della. And Della has, for technological reasons, we have pre-recorded Della's. So I'm going to show you a video first. Then we're going to show you Della's presentation, and then afterwards, Della's here with this evening. We'll do quick Q&A and a chat. And please fire questions through. You'll see the chat box there. You'll see the Q&A. Fire as many questions through. Share your experiences with us. Tell us a joke. We don't mind, but the more interaction, the better. Okay, so I'm going to just make sure that I have all my boxes ticked. So I'm going to pause it for 1 sec, and I do, and share, and okay. And Paula, you let me know. Sorry, we'll mute if everybody mute as well now we stop our videos. And
Mount Hood was left off the list. So was the Oregon coast. The Columbia River Gorge was somehow overlooked, as were the Painted Hills. Smith Rock and the Wallowas are both missing from it. All we can figure is whoever named the 7 wonders of the world never set foot in Oregon. Because even Crater Lake was left off their list. So we see your wonders world and raise you 7 of our own. And we invite you to come experience them. Our wonders aren't just for looking at. You have to explore them and feel them beneath your feet. Just remember, this is Oregon. So how you go about doing that is entirely up to you. The 7 wonders of Oregon. See one, or better yet, see them all. Mount.
Hello, I'm going to give you a whistle-stop tour of Oregon. So we're often asked, where is Oregon? And we are sandwiched between 2 states, effectively, California to our southern border and Washington State to the north. We have an amazing coastline, as you can see from the map here, over 360 miles of it. We've got mountains, small towns, cities, everything that you could pretty much want in one destination. So the Oregon Odyssey that Platinum Travel actually suggest on their website is a pretty good place to start, because it is about 700 miles in total, but between a 10 and 14-day stretch, that's really doable without doing big mileages every day. So I'm going to kind of follow that on this particular itinerary. And I've done this myself, both on holiday with my family and on travel agent trips. So Portland, what are we known for? Well, you can see Mount Hood in the background. Tax-free shopping is our big thing. So you've got no sales tax. And if you want your dollars to go a little bit further when you're out there in the shopping malls, it's great for that. We love our coffee, our craft breweries. Outside of Portland, we have amazing wineries and vineyards as well. So Portland sits on the Willamette River, so it's a really picturesque spot. We're known for our culinary treasures, and I'm not sure about you, but food comes pretty top of my list when I'm on holiday, and you'll never go hungry really in Portland. We have over 500 food carts or food trucks. We have whole districts of them. So any kind of food that you want, you will find in Portland. A big farm to table movement, so we have a lot of fresh produce. Our voodoo donuts are our claim to fame, and just a great city for getting around as well without actually using a car. We're very sustainable. So if you want to hire a bike, that's a really easy thing to do. You can skateboard, you can use the public transport system, which is very, very good in Portland. Not all cities in the US are hot on their public transport, but Portland is. I know when I was there with my family, we parked the car, we used the light rail system. There's a Portland streetcar, there's an aerial tram. So you don't have to actually drive around the whole time in the city. Just some more shots there showing you kind of really where we are. And it's kind of a cartoon map, but it's a fun way of showing you what we do have in the state. As you can see, Portland to the north there, that amazing coastline all the way down to California. We have Bend and Sisters, which are popular towns within the Cascade Mountain range. We have amazing vineyards, and to the south of the state, Crater Lake National Park. So the Willamette Valley, we mentioned the vineyards, and the Willamette Valley is really between Cascade and coastal mountain ranges, and it's really great for getting out there and admiring the scenery with a glass of Pinot Noir or whatever you fancy in your hand. It's a temperate climate here, perfect for the grape growing, and you can take a vineyard tour, which might take in about 3 or 4 vineyards in an afternoon. You're picked up from a central point and taken back there. You get nibbles, wine tasting, and just a chance to sit outdoors in many of them and actually just soak up that atmosphere. So the Oregon coast, everyone knows about the California coast and that highway that kind of goes all the way up that dramatic coastline. Well, it continues on into Oregon, and it's just a very dramatic coastline, as you can see, those haystack rocks. Many a movie has been filmed here. It's full of little lighthouses, small towns, great seafood as you would expect, whale watching. You can get out on boat trips and really enjoy it that way. It just is one of my favorite parts of the state. I've stayed here with my family and they very much enjoyed it. Just getting out there on those beaches is pretty amazing in itself, and seeing those Pacific rollers coming in. Southern Oregon, great for Crater Lake National Park. You really can't go to Oregon and miss it, because it's a little bit like when I first saw it, seeing the Grand Canyon for the first time. It is the deepest lake in the US. It's the 7th deepest in the world. It's a volcanic crater that is filled in, and it really is stunning. You can stay at the Crater Lake Lodge, but also equally several towns that surround Crater Lake. So it really is a stunning place to visit in winter or summer, of course. All kinds of outdoor opportunities there. Central Oregon, again, is another beautiful area. It includes the Cascade Mountains. I stayed in the town of Sisters, but there's also Bend, which is an iconic kind of little Wild West town. It always sort of reminds me of. And it really is fantastic for every outdoor opportunity. We went on a float trip down the Deschutes River, but equally, if you're a bit more daring, you can go for whitewater rafting. Amazing kayaking trips, as you can see here, if you fancy abseiling, rock climbing, skiing. It's a year-round ski destination at Mount Hood. So really, anything you can want outdoors. Eastern Oregon is the part of the state that really heads towards Idaho, and it has a different feel to it. For rodeos, lots of little small towns. Hell's Canyon is actually deeper than the Grand Canyon. And as you can see, the scenery really is quite dramatic here. And lots of rodeos and that kind of thing as well. So a different part of the state to go and visit. Mount Hood and the Columbia River Gorge, again, one of my favorite areas, really. It's pretty close to Portland, only about 60 miles from some parts of the Columbia River to Portland itself. And this is one of the scenes that was used in the Twilight movies. I was mentioning movies earlier on. On the coast, it was the Goonies, Point Break, and Twilight. This area was also used for some of the Twilight films, if you can remember them. And just stunning scenery, all about windsurfing, water sports, the speed of the winds that come down through that gorge. You can imagine this river kind of reminds me a bit like the Mississippi, but it's a Mississippi of the North, if you like. And it's a really stunning place to visit. Some more shots there, obviously winter and summer. And you can go up to the Multnomah Falls there and get to that bridge where you can actually get very close to the waterfall itself. And really just one thing to remember is that we're full of scenic byways. We've got more scenic byways than any other state. So you don't have to be one of these people that is going to hike off into the wilderness for days on ends. You can just drive it, pull out at various points where you can picnic, see waterfalls and explore the area. So hopefully we'll see you in Oregon.
That's brilliant, Ella. Thanks a million. I have to say, I brought back so many memories looking at that. I know you shouldn't say you love one place over the other, and I do love California as well. And I'll tell Brendan the bits I loved about that. But I think with Oregon, I didn't know what to expect. And when I got there, I was blown away. I mean, I have Crater Lake behind me. That's Crater Lake there. And it is that beautiful. It is that gorgeous when you get there, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely stunning.
One quick question. So in regards to city life, because I know we're all talking about wide open spaces and everything at the moment, but a lot of people are dying to get back to city life and eating and drinking and having the crack and going to gigs. Portland has all of that and more, I presume.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not a big city by American standards at all, but it is, it's got a lot of character. It's all about things that are grown and made in Oregon, basically. It's all about independent shops. We've got the largest bookstore, which takes up like an entire block.
Yeah.
It's all about food, craft breweries, and it's just easy to get around. I mean, we just, as I said in the video there, we just parked the car and, walked everywhere. We took a walking tour, which kind of obviously takes in all the history of the city. It's just quirky. It's actually, their slogan is "Keep Portland Weird," which sounds like a really odd tagline to have, but they kind of like being a bit like that. And I think a lot of people have moved there because of the whole vibe of it, the fact that it's kind of a boho vibe, really.
And very, very cool. And how are things in regards to vaccinations and moving on and opening up and all that at the moment, Ella? Are things going well? I know we don't like talking too much about the negative stuff, but
yeah.
I'll pose that question to you in a sec, Brendan, too, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's pretty much, they're on a par really with the UK. And obviously, I'm pretty sure that I haven't misheard it or misread it, but President Biden has said that most people should be at least have had their first vaccination by the end of May. And that's the entire US adult population. So, they are really, really cracking on with the vaccination program, and it does vary state to state, but I think we should be, I'm really hoping that he comes out with this mid-June or whatever kind of corridor between us and the who knows. I mean, it's all a guessing game, isn't it? But
it's definitely coming. And this is the same question to you then, Brendan, actually. So how are things there? I mean, I know it's in your presentation, but just while we're quickly talking about, how is California looking?
We've been very conservative approach to COVID overall. So for us, it's taken we've kind of mirrored what the UK actually have been doing with into lockdown, out of lockdown, into lockdown. They've kind of moved into what we call a tiered system. We represent our tiers by colours, purple being the most restricted, yellow being the least restricted. And so at the moment, most people are sat between yellow and our red tier. So everyone's out of purple now. We are seeing that vaccine roll out very quickly, and it's moving a lot faster than I think we anticipated it to move. And I think that's really promising. So we're starting to see the reward for exciting for us. Our theme parks are opening in April, so next month. So
that's a huge thing.
that's really exciting because they've been closed for a year.
I think you mentioned that the other day, actually. You did mention that. Sorry to interrupt you, but I thought it was a very good point you said to me on the call the other day about when Disney open up, the kind of people will say, okay, things must be getting better because Disney are so good at everything they do. So hopefully that's a good sign. Then we can blame Disney anyway.
Yeah. Disney are a great example because they're a great partner of ours. Obviously, we can cover this, but original Disney theme park from California, but there's consumer confidence around Disney, especially because I think they're so controlled about how everything is operated, and the experience. The last thing they want to do is have a COVID outbreak happen from Disney. So actually, at the moment, it's a vaccination hub, so that's quite fun. Get your vaccination at the happiest place in the world. So that's the kind of tagline they're running with. But yeah,
well, that works for me. Absolutely works for me.
Yeah, but we're definitely feeling optimism. I think, like Della's saying, we're hoping for a corridor. Kind of pre-summer or around the early summer corridor come in, so we can get people out and moving again and really experiencing all the great things
that are coming. Absolutely brilliant. And Della, going back to you then, and Paula, I'll let you start the questions. And apologies to everybody, I forgot to introduce Paula, even though she's been here every evening. She's doing loads of work in the background as well. So sorry, Paula, for not introducing you at the start.
Not at all, you're right.
I'll let you fire away there.
Neil has just asked Della, are there any Native American visitor centres in Oregon?
Yeah, there are. I mean, there's several museums actually, because there's I believe there's nine tribes altogether. And I know, for example, at Warm Springs, there's a big museum dedicated to Native American history. So it is obviously pretty important because, when the explorers pushed west, that's a whole story about the Oregon Trail, and the history is pretty kind of weaved in through Oregon as a state. I know there's certainly areas in Portland where the Native American history is included in museums there, but around about the state, I mean, there's various reservations where there are also museums there. So yeah, there is Native American history. It's a little bit like the southwest of the US too, as well. It's kind of a melting pot of a lot of different tribal history, really, in Oregon.
Brilliant.
Excellent. Orla has just asked, in relation to RV holidays, what are the facilities like for RV, and should you always book them in advance?
You should in most of the really popular places, for example, around Crater Lake. Crater Lake, obviously, there are facilities there, but there's a lot of little towns that serve Crater Lake as well in the southern part of Oregon. I mean, anywhere where that's our only national park, so that would definitely be advisable to pre-book. There are literally, I mean, state parks all around. I mean, we've got more scenic byways, as I think I said in the video as well, than anywhere else. So we're perfect for RVs. And a lot of the campsites are in and around state park areas. So yes, I mean, I would definitely book anything pretty much on the coast, particularly if it's summer. So anything around the coast, and the Mount Hood Columbia River Gorge area, which is where you get all the kind of water sports and everything because of that wind that tunnels through that gorge there. That's again very popular in the summer. So yeah, my answer would be it's great for touring. It really is great for an RV because it's just big open roads. The same as there are in California and the West in general. So it's just perfect for exploring really by RV.
Really lends itself to socially distanced holidays now as well,
yeah,
I think, for families.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great thing about the States, isn't it? I mean, you can have the city experience, but, you can get out and you are, quite often the only person that's stopped at that viewpoint or whatever. It's not like in the UK and Ireland where we're crammed in an awful lot more. So, we're queuing to take the picture.
Aideen has just asked, what's the best time of year to visit Oregon, temperature-wise?
I always think like the most guaranteed time weather-wise is really kind of like from late May, June, like through to the fall. So say kind of mid-September if you want to be really guaranteed of, the more dry weather. I mean, Portland's a little bit like Seattle in that, the coast, particularly the coast, really can get the rain at certain times, and I've been in San Francisco when it's been August and I'd need to go and put a sweater on, because that kind of, fog has come in, and it's a little bit like anything on the coast is a little bit, less predictable on the weather side of things. But generally we have long, hot summers. I mean, long, hot, dry summers. And, particularly for those vineyards in the valleys, it's perfect for that. So, yeah, really, I would say the end of May to like September, really.
And the last one I have here at the moment is, it's just come in here from Maria, and she's just asking what the recommended average stay per visit when traveling around Oregon would be.
Well, I've done it with my family, and I've also done obviously trips where I've taken travel agents. My family trip, it was almost 2 weeks. You can easily do, you can do that circle, or kind of, your Oregon Odyssey pretty much very easily in 2 weeks without doing massive mileage. It's around about, I took a travel agent trip, and we actually did it in 6 nights, which is a bit full on. And 6 nights, we did 900 miles in total in 6 nights. So that was a little bit too much. I mean, we wouldn't have done that as a tourist, but obviously on a travel agent trip, you're packing it in deliberately to see as much as you can in a short period of time. So, I mean, 900 miles over 14 days is fabulous, because there's no big mileages then when you divide those mileages over that kind of length of time. And you wouldn't be moving on every day for sure. I mean, you'd be staying, a couple of nights in each place, which is what your tour suggests.
And it's in a way, it's quite a compact state in some ways, because you're never far from anything. So even if you only have a short amount of time, you can still cover a lot. Or if you have a long amount of time, you can break it up loads and never have to do very, very long drive, So,
I mean, you don't have to go all the way down to Crater Lake. If you're starting in Portland or Seattle, for example, you don't have to go all the way south. You can just loop around and do the coast and the Cascade Mountains and the Columbia River Gorge without actually doing, that stretch down to the southern part.
All the way down, exactly, yeah. But you should definitely try and get to the wine vineyards as well if you can. Some of the cool breweries. So no pressure on Brendan then. Let's see if he can beat that. And actually, while I think just before Brendan starts, that video we showed at the start, guys, the 7 Wonders video, that is such a gorgeous video, because I think that sums up Oregon so beautifully. It really does. If anybody wants a copy of that, I'm probably going to throw it on the YouTube channel tomorrow. But if anybody wants a copy in the meantime, we can get it sent to you personally as well if you want to look back at it. So that's grand. So Brendan, you're up next. You should be able to share straight away, and I will mute from here. So welcome to Brendan, everybody.
Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing really well. So just a quick intro for me. So my name's Brendan. So I look after Visit California for the UK and Ireland. So I don't have an American accent, so I apologize in advance. But based in the UK, but take a lot of trips over to Ireland in normal times to come and visit everyone. So it's great to be able to kind of come tonight and be with everyone. And just appreciate Kira and the team having us in. So I'm going to talk to you all about California, and what I thought is to take you on a little bit of a journey and just kind of show you some of the diversity of California and just what we're about as a state. But I like to kind of always set out my California kind of education piece with a little bit of a video, as we always do. I've been lucky enough, we are launching a brand new brand spot video called What If in California. This brand spot launches next week, but I've got a sneak peek for you all tonight. So I've been given permission to show it a week early to everyone. So here we go.
Here in California, we believe in what if. After all, if is our middle name. Like, what if we could go surfing and skiing in the same day? Boom! What if we could make it to the top of this? Or the bottom of this? What if I put this in my mouth? What if they had to save this for us? Or this? Here we welcome all what ifs with open arms. Even whatever this is. After all, there's only one wrong way to what if. What if you don't?
So that's our funny spot, What If in California. And what I love about our little videos is they just show you a bit of a snapshot of what we have to offer. And it's a lot. So California, we're the 3rd largest state in the US. We sit out occupying most of that west coast of the US. We're long, and skinny, running up the coast. And we obviously are known for our beaches, but we have so much to offer. So we have 4 key gateway cities with direct service. And so we have LA and San Francisco, which is the most kind of iconic ones. Direct service generally with Aer Lingus for you guys in Dublin. Potentially a new flight coming in there at some point this year too, into San Francisco. So watch this space, that's all I can say, but just a little teaser there. We might be seeing some additional airlift out of Ireland. And then if you're connecting in via the UK, so via London, you could fly also into San Diego or San Jose, and obviously plenty of connecting flights with Aer Lingus through British Airways, etc. as well. So plenty of places to get there. We've got a lot of air traffic going into the West Coast every day. So nice and easy for us to get to. Flight time wise, you're looking at about 11 hours to Los Angeles. It's kind of about the same for both, to be honest, maybe 10 and a half to San Francisco. But you know, California is a destination where we're very much a fly drive. So we're really a get out and explore and just see everything that our state has to offer. We've got 9 national parks, and the national parks are all so different. We've got obviously our most iconic Yosemite, and I'm going to have chat a little bit about Yosemite in a little bit. But we also have other national parks like Joshua Tree in Palm Springs, which is a part of our deserts region. We've got the Channel Islands, which are a series of islands off the coast of our central coast. We've also got our iconic Redwoods National Park, where you'll see the big towering trees. So we've got so much different diversity when it comes to our national parks. Like I said earlier, we are located on the West Coast. We've got about 840-ish miles of coastline, so it's plenty. And what's really cool about our coastline is it changes as you drive. So what you see maybe down in the south is very different to what you see in the central, and also very different to what you'll see in northern California too. So it's a really evolving coast, and then it even changes again as you go into Oregon, like Della was saying earlier. So it's just such a nice, it's a really nice coast just to drive, and because it changes, it keeps it really interesting. I always say California is a bit of a bucket list destination, or is a destination for everyone. There is definitely something that's going to appeal for you. You know, we cater for the families. I kind of mentioned earlier when we're talking about COVID, we've got our theme parks, Disney, Universal being our big ones. But we've obviously known for our beaches, our cities, but like we've got our deserts, we've got mountains, we have snow that we get in the winter time at the moment, and you can ski and snowboard. We're famous for wine. Largest wine producer for the US, and we're the 5th largest wine producer in the world. So a lot of wine comes from California. And so we have got something for a bit of everyone. So I'm just going to take you on a quick little road trip, give you a little bit of a sample. So generally I find most people, when we're flying from Ireland to California, usually you're going to start in San Francisco. So that's where we're going to start today. So San Francisco is pretty iconic city. That's city on the bay, obviously famous for our Golden Gate Bridge, big, obviously red bridge. We've got Alcatraz. As a destination, it's a destination that I tend to recommend for 2 or 3 nights. A lot of people are like, I'm going to go there for a week, and you could go there for a week, but it is a small, compact city. So it is easy to get around. What my number one tip for traveling to San Francisco is, don't grab your car rental before you go into the city. I usually say grab your car rental from one of the downtown depots the day you're going to leave. The reason being, the city's all one-way streets. So you literally drive in a circle to get somewhere. You've also got expensive parking charges. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's between $50 and $70 a day. So by not renting and we have an amazing transit system in San Francisco. So you can ride the iconic trolleys up and down the big steep hills, or the trams. They will get you everywhere you need to go. And a day pass on the trolleys and trams is about $5. So it's a lot more reasonable than bothering to drive around, and it'll get you everywhere. It'll get you to all the different neighborhoods. But San Francisco is definitely a hub of neighborhoods. Iconic is obviously people want to get out, see that Golden Gate Bridge. Alcatraz is one thing I would say you always need to try and remember to pre-book your tickets. But if you want a little special Alcatraz experience, I recommend the sunset tour. You can watch the sunset over the city, and you do a little bit of a tour through there in the evening as well. And it's a little bit more eerie than in the day, but the day is just as fun. But that's just my little hot tip for you. But always remember to book your Alcatraz tickets, especially if you're going in the summer, because they do sell out. There's only one ticket company as well, Alcatraz Cruises, that will get you onto the island. Anyone else will get you around, but not actually on. We also have Pier 39s, where you'll see your seals, some great shopping down there, and then we have our beautiful Union Square. Recently, just at the start of last year, actually, so before everything shut down, we opened a new urban park in San Francisco. So I just quickly, another little hot tip. It's literally downtown, just a stone's throw from Union Station, and it's 4 blocks long, and it sits above the street. So this is new open space to kind of go and explore, just be out with nature. There's tons of plants in there. There's all sorts of microclimates going on. So they've got some really cool different plants in there, but it's just a nice little escape to get out into some freshish air around the city. From San Francisco, you've also got wine country. So Napa and Sonoma are our wine regions. They're about 45 minutes to an hour just outside the city. If you're going to go to Sonoma, you're going to drive straight over the Golden Gate Bridge, always a treat. If you're going to head out to Napa, why don't you also drive over the Golden Gate Bridge, or you could head out over the Bay Bridge, either one, and they'll kind of loop you up there. But the wine regions are a really good place to go out and explore. You can day trip them from San Francisco. Alternatively, you could go and stay in those regions as well. Heading on next, we're going to keep moving now. So we're going to head down our California coastline. So our iconic PCH, Pacific Coast Highway, Highway 1, gets called a variety of things, the California coast. Most people know it between San Francisco and Los Angeles. Our gateway is Monterey, and that's kind of the gateway to the Big Sur region. And Monterey, if anyone has seen the show Big Little Lies with Nicole Kidman, Reese Witherspoon, all set in and around Monterey. Absolutely beautiful area, great for whale watching. It's a good place to go out and see that. You've got the Monterey Bay Aquarium, again for any Disney Pixar fans. Finding Dory was modeled off the Monterey Bay Aquarium, so a great little place that you can go and explore. Just south of Monterey, you've got a little town of Carmel. California is the home of the celebrity, so it would be rude for us not to have a celebrity mayor. At some point, we had Arnold, obviously, as our governor. Clint Eastwood was actually the mayor of Carmel for a bit there, quite a number of years ago. But and then for the golfers, you've got Pebble Beach Golf Course just in Carmel, 17-mile drive. So beautiful. What's really iconic about our California coast is that it's just really spectacular. So then you're going to keep moving into our Big Sur region. Big Sur is kind of what this picture is on my screen. It's where you'll see the ocean falling, the cliffs falling into the ocean. Got a nice little waterfall. This is Midway Waterfall. You might be able to kind of peek it just in the middle of that picture there. Nice little waterfall falling onto the beach, but just absolutely beautiful. There's some nice little stops for dinner or lunch. It's just a beautiful in the Big Sur region, but it's just a beautiful place. Plenty of places to pull off. So from San Francisco to Monterey, I should have said, is about a 3-hour drive. And then as we head down the coast from Monterey, we're kind of aiming for a place called San Luis Obispo. And again, it's about another 3-hour drive. But there's plenty of opportunities to stop, have a look at some different bits and different sights and sounds. When you get down to San Luis Obispo, you'll notice the scenery changes again and again. Our evolving coast, we've got rolling hills, plenty of vineyards. Again, another good place just to do stop. We've got a nice attraction there, Hearst Castle, which is a huge kind of old stately home. You guys are home of castles, so it's probably really unimpressive, but the Californians love it. If we keep moving south, we're going to get to Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara is our classic Riviera. We call it the American Riviera, and it's kind of our south of France red tiled roofs, again sitting on a beautiful bay, and it's a great place to whale watch. It's one of my favorite places to whale watch, and where I recommend if you want to do whale watching. The reason why it's one of my favorite places is you've got the Channel Islands, which is one of our national parks, just set out off the coastline. What happens is the whales tend to migrate between the coast and the Channel Islands, so there's not a big distance between them for people to go out and find the whales and explore. So plenty. This whole area as well is known for Pinot Noir. It's known for Pinot Noir because of Hollywood, because it's California. There was a movie, you may have seen it, called Sideways. That movie, he was all about Pinot Noir, loved Pinot Noir, didn't like Merlot. Now that area is known for Pinot Noir, can only sell Pinot Noir, cannot sell Merlot, purely because of Hollywood and a movie. But just another random fun fact. We're going to keep venturing because we're on a whirlwind tour tonight. So Los Angeles has a love-hate, and I personally love it, but I used to hate it. I think and so I'm a good one to talk about it, but it's a destination that it's huge, it's massive, it's a sprawling city, and if you've ever flown in there, you'll just see it just goes endless, miles and miles and miles. The best way to explore LA is to break it down into its little suburbs. There's so much to do there, but if you break it down into its little areas and have a couple of days exploring, that's really where it tends to get the most out of it. We're known for obviously Beverly Hills, that celebrity lifestyle, the Hollywood Hills, but we've also got the beautiful beaches, Santa Monica, Venice Beach, and then Universal sits just in there. Downtown is also evolving, really cool food scene in downtown LA. But that just gives you kind of a big bit of an overhaul. Obviously LAX, and actually we're seeing a big change at LAX. We're seeing some big evolution that's happening within the airport. We've got a new monorail system going there to make it easier to get between terminals, and we're also creating a transit system a bit like London's underground system, and that's largely because we're due to host the Olympics in 2028, so they're building a whole new kind of public transport infrastructure. We're going to keep venturing south and we'll get to Orange County. Orange County is the classic OC. That is where we kind of see the classic OC, surfing, everything you think of California, people surfing. Do they have a job? We don't know, but they tend to be surfing a lot, hanging out, lots of good Mexican influenced food. 3 main cities, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, Laguna Beach, all very different communities. Huntington Beach is very much your surf vibe. Newport Beach is more of a harbor, very much more upmarket. Laguna Beach is very much more retired artists. That's how I put it. And really kind of laid back. Again, really good whale watching from here, and just a great beach option. Still journeying, San Diego. San Diego sits right at the bottom. Huge Mexican influence because it's right down there on the Mexican border. What's really nice, if you ever fly into San Diego, you do land downtown. So that's really nice. You are literally in your downtown hotel within 15 minutes from leaving the airport. So it's really good. We've got the San Diego Zoo. We have a SeaWorld there. There's a love-hate with SeaWorld. I will say we have a SeaWorld, and it's a naval town. So there's a lot of naval influences within that. USS Midway is my favorite, one of my favorite attractions to check out. This is a great place if you've got a family, or if you've got kids and you want to go. There's plenty for the kids to do. Balboa Park, the biggest like urban park in the US, and that has the San Diego Zoo, but it also has a bunch of other museums like the Air and Space Museum. Again, really cool to check out and great for families. So we've just hugged the coast. Now we're heading inland. So we have deserts. We're famous for our deserts. Palm Springs, I just wanted to quickly highlight, great place for golf. Got over 127 golf courses. It's surrounded by mountains. We've got natural hot springs all around. You've got Joshua Tree National Park. And it's kind of that birth of that kind of mid-century modern architecture as well. So it's really big for that style of architecture, which is really in at the moment. It also plays home to Coachella, the big music festival, which usually happens around now, but unfortunately not this year, be next year. But Palm Springs is hot, so it's our kind of answer for a flop and drop. You go, you stay at a nice resort hotel, and then you just relax for a couple of days. Peak season is November through May, so it's winter sun for them because it's nice and warm down there. On the flip side, summer tends to be low season in August, but it is hot. It's going to be 40 degrees and a dry heat, so it is hot. Quickly venturing up before we wrap up, Yosemite National Park. I can't not talk about California without talking about Yosemite. It is our most famous national park. It's an iconic, I think next to Yellowstone and the Grand Canyon, it's kind of one of the most iconic. Again, it's a couple of days. A lot of people think you need to go for a week. If you're not a climber or an avid hiker, most people want to go and see the waterfalls and explore the park. The park is massive. Most people just tend to go to the valley floor. The valley floor is where most of the big attractions are. It's where you'll see this picture here, which is El Capitan, and you can watch the climbers that take usually about a week to climb it. You've also got Half Dome, which is that kind of rock, half dome kind of shaped rock, and then a bunch of waterfalls like Yosemite Falls. You've got Vernal Falls. So there's a whole variety of waterfall options. Best time, if you've got my big tip for Yosemite, if you're going in the summer, you need to and you want to stay in the park, you need to pre-book. If you don't want to stay in the park, still need to pre-book. It does get busy, but there's some great outlying towns like Mariposa or Groveland are really good kind of alternatives, and they'll get you in and out. One thing as well, Yosemite does run a nice public bus system called YARTS, Yosemite Area Regional Transit. They are really inexpensive. It's $5 for a ticket. So if you're staying in somewhere like Mariposa, you could use the bus, which will drop you down in the valley floor, basically get you to all the major attractions of Yosemite, and the ticket price is about $5, and it includes your park entry. So it's a nice little tip if you don't want to have to drive, because Yosemite does get busy in the summer, and we're allowed to say that. If you're going for the waterfalls, best time to see the waterfalls is April, May. It's when the snowpack's melting and they are absolutely in full flow. I really like October because it's nice and warm too, but the waterfalls obviously a little bit less. Last couple rounding up, Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe is a big winter paradise, so we get skiing and snowboarding. It's also a huge alpine lake. It's the largest alpine lake and the deepest alpine lake. Second deepest alpine lake, and 8th deepest lake in the world. So it's big. It's cold all year round. I've swum in there many times on a hot day, and it is refreshing. It's kind of made up of two sides. You've got the South Lake and the North Lake. And what's really unique about Lake Tahoe is it straddles the Nevada border. So we get a lot of the Nevada influence as well as the California influence kind of clashing together. You know what I mean if you've ever been to South Lake Tahoe. South Lake Tahoe, the town sits on the border, so it is littered with casinos on one side of town and really nice, chill California on the other side of town. California closes at midnight. Nevada is open 24 hours. But there's plenty to do on the lake. So if you're there in summer, swimming, snorkeling, diving, parasailing, obviously just all the lake activities. It is surrounded by mountains, so also mountain biking, hiking. There's plenty to do out there. And then finally, we're going to brush on Northern California. So everything north of San Francisco encompasses Northern California. Tends to be a little bit more off the beaten track. So lots to do. Northern California pairs really well with Oregon, and it's a really nice road trip. There's plenty to do up there. You can go through Shasta Cascade, where you've got Lassen National Park, which is a big active volcano, and you can see the bubbling tar pits. If you're inland, if you're outland, you've got the coast, where you've got all the big redwood trees. You can see the waterfalls, and again, more wine regions because we have wine all over the state. And it makes a really nice pair if you're heading up into Oregon and then onto Washington and Seattle. A really nice road trip as well is if you were to fly into Seattle or out of Seattle and use San Francisco as your other base, and you do Washington, Oregon, and Northern California. That is an absolutely special trip. It's kind of it for me now. I've just wrapped up and rambled. Sorry, we are a big state, so we've got a lot to try and get in, but hope something's been interesting. Again, if you've got any questions, I'm here to ask. We've just launched our new visitor guide last week, so you can check that out. It's digital. Unfortunately, we're not doing print versions at this time, but hopefully we will be soon.
That's brilliant, Brendan. My God, I tell you something, you know your stuff. My goodness, and I know you a good few years, and I know you've looked after California, but it's such a huge state. There is so much to know, and you really do know it, and I appreciate you trying to condense it down. I think we could do a whole night just on California alone. There's so many regions and so many parts, isn't there? Depending on what you want, like.
And I could speak literally for hours on it. I feel really lucky that I've traveled pretty extensively through it. So.
But that's you can tell, and same when Della was doing Oregon, you can tell that somebody's been there, and you can tell they're passionate about it because it comes out completely in both of you when you're talking about it. I mean, I've loads of questions. I'm going to these are just things that I had written down and questions we've had in coming up to tonight, as well as Paul has a couple of questions there. But there are key points I think just to lean in on, like the likes of the Alcatraz thing. Absolutely, we've seen people stung like that. You know, these things should be booked in advance and budgeted for in advance. If you're going to do things like this, but Alcatraz, you won't get tickets in peak season. You will not. Like, it's just tough luck. You might get a last minute cancellation, but I wouldn't be relying on it if it's on your list to do. Would I be right?
Correct. I'm one that you think doing this job, and I say this, that I should lead by example. And maybe about 4 years ago, I was there in May, and I was like, I'm just going to go to Alcatraz. Couldn't get tickets.
Yeah.
And it was May. I was like, I'll be fine. It's May. No.
Oh, look. And the nighttime one, have you done the nighttime one?
Yeah, nighttime one is super. It's really
cool. Okay. So
what city like you go like, and it's daylight, and then you kind of get to the island as the sun's setting in. So you kind of you kind of do the inside bit, and then you get to the outside bit of the tour as the sun's setting, and you're watching the city light up. It's pretty special. But
you actually go into the prison. It's a big
it's got a bit of an eerie, creepy vibe because it's night.
In a good way.
That would be creepy.
It would be very creepy. I'd love that, but I'd hate it. But I'd love it, but I'd hate it. Yeah, brilliant. Couple of other questions. Okay, so one thing that we come across all the time is Monterey versus Carmel. So you're not going to stay in both because they're literally side by side. Have you? And again, I know you probably have to look after them all the same. Would you pick one over the other, or how would you? I mean, and a lot of the time I know there's counties all around here. You don't have to stay right in the little villages or towns, but which would you recommend?
So I think it depends. They offer different things. So Monterey is going to be more of if you're a family, Monterey probably leans better. Monterey tends to have the bigger, what I call the flag hotels. So your Hyatts, your Hiltons, so your bigger kind of chain hotels. So they have a lot more inventory. So from a value for money perspective, it's going to be a lot better value for money. Carmel, being a small, it's a small creative community. It's got a lot of old retired tech people. So the tech people kind of tend to retire down in Carmel. So it's very much more upmarket, upscale. So if you are wanting something that's a little bit more luxurious, then Carmel tends to be a bit better fit. It's probably the best.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's perfect. What else did I have written down? Yosemite, another one that comes up very, very regularly. And a lot, we have kind of standard answers we give, but it's no harm putting the question out there while you're here. So somebody's in San Francisco and they want to go to Yosemite and they're just going to go for a night. We'd always say that's crazy because it's actually much longer drive than people realize from San Francisco to Yosemite. So would you stay, I mean, a minimum of 2 nights when you get there if you want to have at least 1 full day, because it's such a huge park, like bigger than people realize.
Yeah, the park is massive, and actually, like, really interestingly, and I learned this stat about a year ago, that the park is really big. I can't remember off the top of my head the square footage, but in terms of people occupying it, most people go to the valley floor because that's where most of the key attractions you want to see are. So actually, I think it's 3% of people don't only 94% of people only visit the valley floor area, and then everyone else, and then they go in, go out, and the rest of the park is kind of untouched. So there's so much of the park that is untouched that is amazing. You can get out and just see no one, and it's beautiful. We got the Mariposa Groves, which are currently closed at the moment, and they're probably not going to open this summer, but they will next because they've had some fire damage. But beautiful, huge redwood trees. It's just absolutely stunning down there, and it's so quiet because all the big tour buses go to the valley floor because that's where the Ahwahnee Hotel is, which is the big iconic hotel there. It's where you get the kind of the main hikes, Yosemite Falls, etc. So but there is so much of the park. So I stay in the Groveland side. There's a little reservoir there called Hetch Hetchy. That's actually free to get into. You don't need a park pass to get into there, and it's just a really fun experience still in the park.
The whole point of the likes of this evening is to get those tips, because you need to do your research. And while we can't travel at the moment, do your research now if you're planning this in 2022. And if you're not picking up stuff, and people can contact us and we'll get more information for them. And last one I was going to say before we go, very briefly, you touched on ski. Obviously, there's fabulous skiing to be had in Lake Tahoe. And I know you're a big ski lover. I know you love your ski. So you'd highly recommend it, I presume?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lake Tahoe's, it's crazy. It's got 16 different ski resorts listed around the lake. Majority of people go to 4. So Heavenly is like kind of the big one, and that's where you kind of see that big iconic. If you ever see skiing in Lake Tahoe, you see this beautiful lake shot, people skiing down a mountain, feel like you're going to ski right into the lake, and that's usually from Heavenly.
Okay.
But Heavenly is definitely a lot busier because of being on the Nevada side, and it tends to get a lot more of the San Francisco, the Bay Area traffic. And then northern Lake Tahoe is where you've got a resort over there, Squaw Valley Alpine Meadows. They're 2 resorts connected, not by bus, not by lift at the moment, but they will have a lift hopefully in the next year or 2. It's been a long project, but and that tends to be a bit more like quieter, very different. Like, because Heavenly sits on the border, it's very party, so it is lots of young people. It's a lot of drinking.
Not about ski.
It's like a night in Temple Bar. That's a great way to put it. And northern Lake Tahoe is very more local feel. Definitely a bit of a different vibe there, but still really cool.
Well, you'd be very proud of me. My first ever and only ever ski experience was in Lake Tahoe. It happened a couple of years ago, and it won't be happening again. So never moved, but at least my one time was in Lake Tahoe for 2 days. So it's a story for another day off camera, Brendan, definitely. Okay, I've loads more written down, but I'll stop now because I know we could talk about it forever. So Paul, I'll let you fire more questions at Brendan there. He wants lots of questions.
Yeah, we have. Well, there's lots coming in. First of all, actually, there's some lovely comments and very complimentary comments coming in about both presentations this evening, which is nice to see. A destination in California.
You broke up there. I missed what you said, Paula. Sorry. Was it just me?
Yeah, no, you were breaking up a little bit.
It's a tiny bit. Yeah, we heard the nice comments, but she said something. She's just broken up there. Let me see if I can see what the question was. I'll pick one up.
Oh, sorry. What's the best?
Oh, she's gone again. She's gonna go. I think I know the question she was asking because I have it written here. What's the best winter beach destination in California?
Oh, that's a tough one. That is a real tough one.
And you can't pick Malibu because we know you want to go to Malibu, so can't pick that.
I'm in my beach house in Malibu at the moment. I wish. My favorite beach destination for the winter in California. Do you know what? I really love San Diego. I think San Diego is, Mission and Pacific Beach, which is just outside of downtown. It's just a really cool area. It's that beautiful white sand. You've got great restaurants along the front overlooking the ocean. And so it's just a really cool place. And like San Diego is just, the temperature's nice all year round. So it's a place that you can just sit outside, probably in a t-shirt in winter, and it's still pretty good because San Diego, because it's so far south, it just has this moderate climate. It doesn't get too hot, it doesn't get too cold. It's just like optimal. They don't really have seasons. It's just always warm.
And Paladine, who works in the industry, is from California. She was there at Christmas a couple of years ago, and she got very pleasant weather. So it can be quite surprising. You're so far south, as you say, the further south you go, the warmer it gets. So excellent. Okay, right, Paula, are you back again?
Yeah, apologies for that. Karen has asked, what's the best time to whale watch in Santa Barbara?
Yes. So whale watching tends to be great in 2 times. So you've got, we'll start with May, so around now, April, May time. And what is happening there is they come from the feeding grounds in Alaska and they migrate south down to the Baja, like kind of down by Mexico, and that's where they mate, and then they kind of migrate back up. So they tend to be most active around that sort of time, or October. They're the 2 times that I've seen the best kind of whale watching. October 3 years ago was by far the best. We saw whales breaching out. I had a few travel agents with me actually at the time, and I remember one of them, we were getting in the boat and she's like, I've never seen whales. I've done 5 whale watching trips all over the world, never seen them. And I just said, I think we're gonna nail it today. And it was amazing. Yeah, some really good shots. But yeah, that tends to be the best time. You do see them all year round, and different types. We get 17 different kind of species of whales migrating up and down the coast. But yeah, I'd aim for April, May, or September, October.
Which is a good time price-wise as well to be coming from Ireland as well, because before prices go mental in California. And actually on that, what I think of it, California, you have to book in advance. And this was in a normal year, nothing to do with COVID. You had to book in advance because all those resorts right down that coast, you know, they do fill up so fast. So yeah, no matter what time of the year, make sure you book it in advance. Now, Paula, go on ahead, sorry.
Hey, Brendan, you touched on golf during the presentations, and Marion has asked, she likes to get a game of golf in on holiday. Is it expensive, and should she stay away from the big cities?
Sorry, I missed the first bit of that.
Golf, is it expensive in California, and should she stay away from the big cities?
Golf varies. I mean, we have everything from the iconic Pebble Beach or Torrey Pines, and for them, you're paying a $400 green fee. It is expensive. But then we have a lot of really nice courses that are going to be a lot more affordable. So we have like a full spectrum, but we have some amazing golf like throughout. I love Palm Springs, and Palm Springs, you know, a lot of them are just kind of really like nice public courses. So there's plenty to play there. And then a lot of the hotels in Palm Springs have, you know, they'll have a couple of different courses attached to the hotel, like the Hyatt Regency is a good example. I think they've got 2 18 holes attached to them, La Quinta, and then they do some really good deals if you're guests of the hotel, etc. So yeah, it depends. If you want to play the iconic courses, yeah, you gotta spend. But I think, you know, you can find, you know, $100 green fee pretty reasonable.
Loads of choice anyway for golf. She won't be short of choice.
No.
And
you know, this, and just on the cities question, you know, I think we have iconic cities, but there's, you know, a big part of what I'm about to start kind of promoting is the urban like the getting away to the wide open spaces within those urban settings. And I kind of referenced that with Balboa Park in San Diego. It's literally a stone throw from downtown, and you're in this massive wide open park, a bit like it's bigger than Central Park if most people know New York. It's way bigger than that. So there's plenty of places to go out and explore. Same with Los Angeles. Like, you've got those hills, you know, known for obviously all the star homes, but there's so much that you can do. Like, one of my favorite things in Los Angeles is I go and hike the Hollywood sign, and it's just a really nice, and there's a couple of different hike options you can do. There's a real, like, more of an easier one, and then more extreme, but you can kind of get out and just really explore that. And then obviously you got the beaches there in LA as well, which again, nice wide open. San Francisco a little bit different, but you know, Golden Gate Park and the Presidio, you know, they're again big green wide open spaces, literally just on the skirts of the downtown core. So that's what's quite nice we're quite unique for California with our cities, that we have those wide open spaces. And I do recommend checking them out, even if it's just for a couple of days.
I have to say, I like that idea, because while as we said it wrong, we're so tired of saying about the wide open spaces. While they're really important, probably by the time we're all able to travel, we'll be vaccinated, so we won't need the wide open spaces as much. So it's good that you say that, you know, you're focusing on the urban, so you're going to get that feel of being somewhere with loads of nightlife and loads of bars and restaurants, but not actually having to go into the big city. And what I think with one tip, that Sausalito, there's a fabulous place there called In Above Tide that I booked for clients. Oh my gosh, what a special place. If anybody's ever thinking of going to California, a night here was just more than a night here if you can do it. Sausalito is beautiful as well, isn't it?
It's one of my favorite things to do in San Francisco, actually, get a bike and cycle over the Golden Gate Bridge to Sausalito, grab some lunch there. I usually do it in the morning, grab lunch, maybe a few wines, and then hop on the ferry, so you don't have to cycle back, and take the ferry back into the pier where you drop your bike back off, and your day's done, and it's just a lovely day.
How long is that cycle, Brendan, from San Francisco across the bridge?
It kind of depends, because I'd say you like take the full morning, couple of hours, because there's like because you ride up to the Golden Gate Bridge, you're kind of riding along the shorelines. So there's little places you stop in Ghirardelli Square. You can kind of keep moving in through Battery Park, like go see some of the attractions. Then you take that big ride over. It is scary, don't get me wrong. but then you get the kind of the view on both sides of the bridge, so looking over to Sausalito, and then also from that Sausalito side back over the city, so you get some nice vantage points. And then from the top of the Golden Gate Bridge, it's downhill all the way into Sausalito, so you can just
then. Oh God, you have me wanted to go now. I shouldn't have asked you to come along. It's too difficult. Right, Paula, let's keep going.
Carmel has asked, she's a couple of questions here. What duration do you suggest to begin in San Francisco and end in Los Angeles? She's heard that sometimes it's better to stay outside Los Angeles if you're visiting the city. So she's asking, is that true? And then also, is there a train from San Francisco to Los Angeles, and how long would that take?
So there is Amtrak, but it makes a bit of a weird kind of route to get there, and it has a bus portion as well, so it's not a direct train line. There's a lot of talk at the moment of putting a train line there, and a good friend of mine works for Rocky Mountaineer. I keep saying to her, we need a Rocky Mountaineer on the coast. It'd be really nice. We do have, from a train line perspective, Los Angeles, you can take the train, which sits all on the coast. It's absolutely spectacular, up to Santa Barbara. So that's a really nice spot. It actually goes past Santa Barbara to a little town called Lompoc, and that's from there you hop on a kind of a shuttle, or it tends to go inland, so you don't get the nice coastal views. So if you're wanting to do the coast, it's a car tends to be better. But yeah, that's kind of, I guess, where we are from a train. Staying in and out of the city, especially LA is big, so it can be more affordable to stay in a place like Long Beach. I quite actually like Huntington Beach as an alternative, because Huntington to LA is only 45 minutes to an hour. Again, it depends on traffic, because we get traffic in LA, and we're known for that, but definitely a lot more affordable staying outside of the city than staying in the city. But again, it gives you a different experience coming in and out. But it's no, either's fine, just coming in and visiting. LA is a car city. It's not really good for public transport, so I tend to recommend, if you like staying out, alternatively, you can, like, Uber's so cheap over there, and it's a great alternative as well, just to hop in. If you don't want to drive, just hop in an Uber. I've Ubered many times from Huntington Beach to Los Angeles or to West Hollywood to go out for like a nice dinner, and Uber wise, you're probably looking about $40-50, so it's not too bad really when you think about it.
Absolutely, for the sake of a 45-minute drive, I mean, that's very good. You pay that. It's a couple of you as well, and you're splitting it.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, some cool other areas, especially for LA, if you want to stay, is I do recommend like Burbank or Pasadena as kind of, it's still LA, but it sits on the other side of the mountain ridge from the Hollywood Hills, and so it's a great option to get in and out. It's super easy. You just kind of cut through the canyon. Can get a little congested with traffic. We have many peak hour traffic time zones in California, in LA as well, but again, a good option, and a little bit more affordable if you're staying out in Burbank.
As they say, you talk about the traffic, we talk about the weather.
Yeah,
that's the thing. How's the traffic today?
Yeah.
Great stuff. Keep going there, Paula.
Neil has asked for car rental. Are the availability?
Oh, she's gone again.
Price is much.
Paula, you're gone, so I'm going to ask it here.
For gas.
For car rental, are the availability and price is much the same for gas, diesel, hybrid, and electric options? And what is the availability of electric charging points around the state? So I presume they're not diesel anyway, really, are they? They're mostly unleaded or electric, yeah. But I'll let you answer the electric one as well.
Yeah, mostly going to be like petrol, unleaded petrol, electric as well. We're all about sustainability in California. We like to, we're the home of Tesla. So in terms of like charging points, everywhere, they're literally everywhere for electric vehicles. So pretty much every attraction you'll go to, there'll be a whole section dedicated to electric vehicles. So we're very, and I think that's becoming even more so on the rise. Even the big kind of gas guzzling SUVs are all starting to have hybrid options. So we're definitely seeing a lot more of that. Diesel, very rare that you pick up a diesel car. Unless you're getting like a big truck or something. But I think most of the time you're just going to be looking at petrol gas.
grand stuff. No worries. You're back again, Paula.
Yeah. Aideen has just asked, what sort of price are the tickets to Alcatraz?
It's a great question. And that's really putting me on the spot. I think from memory, they're about $30.
Yeah, and there's a lot of combos you can do as well. You can buy the ticket with the bus pass and all that. We generally tend to do them with the bus pass because people can use it around the transport, like 72-hour bus pass. I think that and the ticket comes about $70, and you have the pass for 3 days as well. Then not the Alcatraz pass, the bus pass. So, but I think if you buy, as you say, it's about $30 on its own, I think.
Yeah, the hop on, hop off is amazing too. It's a great way. Again, I always say don't have a car in San Francisco. It's like having someone that has made that mistake as well. You know, you're basically just paying to have it valeted at your hotel. So what I always suggest is basically in Union Square, so like right in the core of downtown, all the car rental operators there. You got, you know, all the main ones: Alamo, Avis, Enterprise, etc. They tend to have like 2 big buildings, and they have a massive stock there as well. So you can usually pretty good just to grab a car from downtown, and then you just drive straight out, and then you understand what I mean by all the one ways too when you drive out. But the hop on, hop off is so good to get you, because you can just hop. You're like, oh, I want to go to Castro District, just hop on the bus and get a little bit of tour of the area, or I want to go, you know, see Haight-Ashbury and learn, you know, where that hippie movement came from. It's really easy to get out on those hop on, hop off buses.
Definitely. And also the great thing about car hire, once you've done your 3 or 4 days and you pick up your car downtown and you head off wherever you're going to go, in California, generally all the one-way fees are waived if you're picking up and dropping off, you know, in California, and we'll say San Francisco and in LA, and dropping off in LA. So they're great like that. And sometimes actually, even if Nevada, if you're going to finish in Las Vegas, a lot of car rental companies will waive the drop-off fee between California and Nevada as well, because it's such a combo that's done all the time. If you were doing Portland down, generally if you're state side by side, it's usually maybe $150. The further your car is being dropped off, the more expensive it is. So if you're doing Route 66 from Chicago to LA, you're probably looking at about $500 drop off fee. But if you were doing Oregon down, and I'm really glad as well, I think, Brenda, that you touched on Northern California, because it is a beautiful drive to do Oregon and then come down and finish in San Francisco and do that top half, you know. So just, there's me warbling on again. So I'm like, you can start talking about it. Sorry, Paul.
I call that the lost coast, or the undiscovered Highway 1, because whenever you talk Highway 1, people are like, yeah, I've done Highway 1. I'm like, no, you haven't. You've done San Francisco to LA, but Highway 1 goes all the way to the Canadian border. So and not many people do that section above, and that's actually just spectacular.
And it's so less crowded. And I found that with the Oregon coast as well, Del. It's just not crowded. It's just so, you know, you say it's beautiful down in the Pacific Coast Highway you were talking about, but Brendan, but when you go up, it's just so, there's so many deserted areas. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so easy to get away from everybody, you know, and it's just nothing is crowded really, you know. It just isn't. Oregon has just got so many wide open spaces, you know, it's so huge. And yet, you know, a population which is nowhere near ours, of course. So.
I know. Anyway, we still complement each other. Now, Paula, any more? I think there's one more.
Yeah, last question. Tommy has just asked for a fly drive holiday. Which is the easiest city or airport to start your holiday?
I think San Diego, personally, because there's one international flight that comes in, so you're not competing with all the others. But actually, they're all fine. So, I mean, obviously, for you guys coming out of Dublin, what tends to happen, and what most people tend to do, is fly into San Francisco and then head south, finish in Los Angeles, or do some combination, whether it's down to San Diego, out to Vegas. It tends to be popular, but for some reason, that tends to be where most people gravitate to. I actually go the opposite. I always go to Los Angeles, but usually that's because I find it just a little bit quicker to get through customs. But that being said, you know, San Francisco Airport has been going through a huge upgrade, and so it's going to be so much quicker going through all the gateways. Los Angeles as well, just the sheer amount of work that's been done on arrivals to just be able to speed people through and not have congestions, which they've been known for.
Yeah. And I suppose we're very lucky, all going to plan, Brendan. The Dublin LA service and the Dublin San Francisco service will all be running back again. And if both of those, with the airlines that are due to be operating them, you will pre-clear everything in Dublin. So, and in Shannon, well, they're only going from Dublin at the moment, so they'll arrive having pre-cleared. And the answer to the question, really, sorry, I'll let you say that, Brendan, but the answer to the question to me is, wherever you want. This is the wonderful thing about fly drives. You can go in and out of wherever you want. It's tailor-made for you. That's the brilliant thing about it.
I was going to say one thing that is a little bit easier is San Francisco. When you come out, you just hop on the kind of the train shuttle that runs around the airport, and then actually takes you to the car rental place. LA at the moment, you have to go outside and you hop on whichever bus it is to what car rental you're picking up from. So you have to wait. So just a little bit different. Maybe a little bit more streamlined in San Francisco. Again, it's changing for LA. We're having a whole huge monorail system that's going to be put in there that will take you to car rental depots. It's going to take you between all the terminals and hopefully get rid of and take you, because we've moved ride share, so you can't. So like Uber and taxis now pick up in a separate area. Kind of like what happens when I fly into Dublin. I have to go out into the car park area. It's the same deal.
And hope for the best
for LA now.
Excellent. It changes. Oh, this is what this is all about. This changes constantly. Absolutely, loads of changes. Is that all the questions, Paula?
That's it for the moment. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I'm just going to quickly thank you, Brendan, for answering all of those. There was a lot of questions, and Della, there were lots of questions about Oregon too. But just California's bigger. It's just bigger.
Oh, it's fine. I like Brendan. I'll let him off. It's fine.
Just this once, but if he lets it happen again, I know that's how it works. So I'm just going to briefly show you. Where am I gone now? Just a couple of fly drives that we have. Sorry, just get Della's about to talk again, and Brendan has presented. So this is just a couple of ideas of fly drives that you could do. And again, I can't reiterate enough, everything is tailor-made to be as long or short or to suit your budget. 3-star, 5-star, mixture of everything, big car, small car, whatever you guys need. But the California coast is an 11-night trip, and this is based in April 2022. And that's coming in at $14.29 per person. And then that's based on 2 sharing, flights, accommodation, and car hire. Tahoe to Tijuana, it's a 14-night trip. And again, that's covering over 14 nights, covering a huge area. And that's $16.49 per person sharing. And then we've 2 for Oregon, one the Oregon Odyssey and one the Oregon Trail, 9 nights and 11 nights. And they're $14.99 and $17.49. So there's a huge amount included. And you can also do them as an RV if you prefer. You can, if you wanted to fly into New York and do 3 nights and then fly across to California and do that, you can do that. You could stop in Chicago. There's so many options. So please just think about what it is that you guys want, and we can tailor make it for you. But these will give you a good guideline for doing fly drive holidays. And then, of course, the Escorted Tours, and anybody that was with us last week spoke with our Escorted Tour company that we were working with, Inside Vacations in Trafalgar. They have a huge range of Escorted Tours. And again, this is very summarized, but if you are interested in going on a guided vacation or Escorted Tour, there's a huge amount included in these prices. So don't be scared off by the $3,999 there for Best of California and $3,699 for Oregon. And actually that Oregon one takes in Washington State, which is just north, which is just on the border of Canada. And that's a lovely trip combining the two. But there's an awful lot included in that in regards to various experiences and unique hotels that they pick, and loads of dining included, and of course all the luxurious coach and everything else that goes with an Escorted Tour. So you might decide that that's the way you want to go on a holiday the next time. And that's pretty much it, I think. So just to remind you, we have 1 night left, and it's not the very least at all. It's our Southern USA tomorrow evening, and we are going to start at 7:30 again, and we have quite a vast range of the South tomorrow evening. And Adela, you'll be joining us again. You're becoming a regular.
I hope you're not getting fed up with me.
Not in the least, not in the least. You're coming with your Georgia hat on.
Where's the last time, I promise.
No, and you've your guest Amanda, who's from Georgia. She's going to be with you as well.
Absolutely, yeah. She's the real deal. So it'll be a break from me doing all the talking.
That's great. And we have Shannon as well coming from South Carolina. So we'll have 2 real deals coming, which is great. So anybody for the last night, tomorrow night, that's going to be a fun one. Very different to what you saw tonight, but it's going to be fun and enjoyable. And then it's just to say thank you for joining us. And first of all, thank you to Brendan and to Della for giving up their time this evening and putting together those presentations just for Platinum Travel. It means a lot. And even the videos, as I said, the 7 Wonders and Brendan's, we premiere from your video this evening, Brendan. Thank you for that. And for giving up your time. It means a lot. We couldn't do our job without you guys, and to be able to bring something to inspire people, that's really helpful. And also to all the people that joined us this evening, again, for staying on and for watching and for interacting and for chatting. That means an awful lot to us and spurs us on when things are very difficult in the industry at the moment. So thank you for keeping it positive. And I'll leave it at that. So thank you, everybody. And Brendan and Dell, if you want to stay on just until the end there, and then we'll let the attendees go. But thank you, everybody, again.
Thanks, Kira. Thank you, everyone.